Hello, good afternoon. So, I have another one of the new Schmincke dot cards. A few weeks ago, I guess almost a month and a half ago, we did the exclusive colors one, and it is super fun. I ended up actually picking up the Cobalt Green Pure when I picked up the rest of these dot cards. And so I am now going to swatch out the light colors one. I actually have the dark color one as well. I'm just feeling the light color one today. I haven't looked at what colors are in these. I just enjoyed the first one so much, and they're not super expensive, so I decided to just pick the other ones up because I think it's fun to swatch out dot cards. I've also got a Daniel Smith one and a core one that at some point we'll look at. For now, though, let's get into this. I will say these are not particularly easy to find. So far, I've only found them at Jackson's and one of my local art stores. So they are sort of hard to find, but they're also not impossible to find. So what do we have? Oh, it's organized differently. So the last one was organized like all the yellows, or the entire top row was yellows, and then this was all reds and oranges, and then this was all blues and greens. This is organized differently, which I'm not against, it's just different. So, are there any repeats? Let's swatch it and then we'll figure out if there are any repeats actually. Let's use the size 6 Tintoretto. Much like last time, I'm not pre-wetting anything. That seems like a lot of work. And so we're just gonna, go into it. And then I'll go through and pick my favorites. So Titanium Yellow PY53. I know I like this color. I've got it from Daniel Smith. I've got it from 31 Purple Fish. It is just a lovely pale yellow. Yeah. Lemon Yellow is PY3. I have the White Nights version in my palette currently. Again, one of my favorite yellows. I would say this one is more electric than the White Nights version, which is not a bad thing. It's just different. We have Transparent Yellow, which is PY150. Ooh, that's pretty. I do have PY150 from Roman Small in my palette. It's used in a lot of Quinn Golds. It is a very pretty yellow. So far, all of the yellows are yellows that I have in my palette from other brands and actually genuinely enjoy using. So we're off to a good start. Indian Yellow is PY110 and PY154. I don't know that I think I've got an Indian Yellow, but it's a different pigment mix. I've got the White Nights version. I don't think I love it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this like orangey color. It's just not really ever been my color. We have Transparent Orange, which is PO71. I don't think I've got a PO71 in my palette. Ooh, that's fun. That's getting a star next to it. Getting added to the list of possibilities to be added to my palette. Then we have Cadmium Red Orange, which is PO, no, it's PO20. Thought for a minute it said PO26, but no, it's PO20. I'm just not a fan of cadmium oranges. There's nothing wrong with them. They've just like got a weird texture to them. But they're not my favorite. Vermillion Light, PR 186. I don't know that I've got a PR 186 in my palette. I might. Doesn't really want to activate, which is fine. Can do its own thing. But Yeah, I'd say it doesn't want to activate very much. Then we have Rose Madder, PR80. It's PR83. No, yeah, PR83.1, PR48.4. So those are pigments that I don't normally see as like point pigments. You see PB15 point something normally, but not of Alizarian and 48. Can't remember. 83 is alizarin crimson. It's a pretty color. Yeah, I'm not against it as a pink. It's pretty. Then we have Manganese Violet PV16. A violet that I know I like using. So, not from this brand, but from other brands. So I assume that I'll like it from this brand as well. Yeah, it's a very pretty violet. Purples are hard. I have yet to find a single pigment purple that I really love, but PV16 is quite pretty. Ultramarine Violet PB15 and PV15 and PB29. This is interesting. Normally, Ultramarine Violet is just PV15. So it's interesting that they've mixed in Ultramarine Blue. I would say that this is quite a bit more blue than this violet normally is. Not saying it's a bad thing, but if you're looking for like a traditional ultramarine violet, this isn't it. Cobalt Blue Light is PB28. I don't actually have a Cobalt Blue Light in my palette. I have lots of Cobalt Blues, and I would say this is not actually very light compared to a standard Cobalt Blue. Yeah, it's not that light. I have other Cobalt Blues that look pretty much the same. So, Mountain Blue, PW5, PB29, PG7. Oh, this could be quite a fun mix. Meh. Let's see how it dries. I think it should be more fun than it is. Phthalo Blue, PB15.1. Not my favorite version of Phthalo Blue. I prefer 15. I think it's 15.3 or 15.6. I find the 0.1 version just like too green undertoned, and it sort of overpowers everything you mix it with. I have many of them in my palette. I have tried to love them. I can't love them. Oh, that made a bit of a mess. Chromium Oxide Green Brilliant PG18, PG7. So this isn't even okay. Chromium Green Oxide is one of the cheapest pigments. There's no reason to make this a mix, because now it doesn't even look like chromium green. It looks like a Viridian. I don't even like chromium green, but you can't tell me that's chromium green. You have lost all like the chalkiness that a chromium green has. It's not chalkiness, it's the opacity. That is no longer chromium green, a Viridian. So that's a bit annoying. I hate when brands create mixes that they call sort of a standard pigment name that look nothing like what that pigment is. Lots of brands do it with Green Earth, where the version that they've mixed to avoid using the PG23 pigment doesn't actually look anything like this. This is Helio Green, PG36. Another pigment that I couldn't find during the Schmincke mixing series video from Schmincke. I bought the Winsor Newton version. I would say the Winsor Newton version looks identical and is probably cheaper, depending on the country you live in. In Canada, Schmincke paints are really expensive. Maya Green is PY151 PG7. Oh, I like that. I have a thing for like springy bright greens. I would say that's like on my list of greens I actually quite like. All right, Green Earth. I have this paint in my palette. I know how I feel about it, and I know that it's not going to activate nicely. It is really hard to activate. It is PBR7 and PG7. I would say that as mixes for a Green Earth go, it does emulate at least one of the actual PG23 versions I have in my palette quite well. I do wish that they just used an actual Green Earth pigment instead of a mix, but they didn't, and at least theirs looks like a Green Earth. Transparent Green Gold isn't a single pigment either. PY154 and PBR7. Green Gold is normally a single pigment. Yeah, they have me doubting myself, but no, Green Gold, much like Chromium and Oxide Green, is normally a single pigment. Schmincke. I gotta say, you're testing me here. I don't know if, like, yeah, I've got other green golds in my palette that I like that are not mixes. Why would I reach for a mixed one over the single pigment one? Because now, like, if you buy this and you buy this, like, you can't use them for creating, well, you can still use them for creating granulating mixes, but not if you're trying to sort of duplicate somebody else's formula and try and recreate a color. Titanium Gold Ochre, PBR 24. I don't think I've got this brown in my palette, actually. It's pretty. Raw Sienna. Huh. PBR7/PY43. So it doesn't say that it's both, unless it's a typo. Guess I could go and look on the Schmincke website. So either their raw sienna is not a single pigment, which based on the rest of this is totally possible, or yeah, I'm leaning towards that their raw sienna isn't a single pigment. Again, really annoying because they're using common names for things that aren't single pigments. So unless somebody is actively looking at a tube or actively looking at the pan, which you should be doing if you're buying paints, but if you're new to the art world, you might not know where to look, and so suddenly you think you're buying something standard, like somebody tells you to, in an art tutorial, to get raw sienna, which is PBR7, except if you buy the Schmincke version, it's a mix, or buy Chromium Green, but if you buy the Schmincke version, it's a mix. I don't know that I'm in love with this naming structure. I think it's a little bit deceptive because, well, it does contain the pigment, all except Green Earth. It does contain the pigment that it's named after. Normally they're not mixes. Golden brown, PY 65 and PBR 41. Oh, I like that. This video is like a weird mixture of me ranting about Schmincke's naming system and going, oh, I like that color. Burnt Umber, PBR 7. There we go, Schmincke. Normal name for a standardly recognized color. It's going to look different in every brand, but you've kept the same pigment number. Umber, green Umber, PBR 7. Also not. Anthracite, PBK 7. So anthracite is a black that granulates. It's not my favorite black that granulates. I prefer PBK 11, but it's a black that granulates. So, of what is on this sheet, which do I love? I love this. I like this because I don't have something like it. I don't love, so my issue with the Ultramarine Violet, much like many other things in this video, is that it's a standard color name where it's actually a mixture of pigments. That being said, I do like the color. So for now, it's going to get a dot so that I can think about it. And same with Maya Green. I like Maya Green. And do I like lemon yellow? I think I might like lemon yellow. So there are all, it's 24 colors in this set. Overall, like, I don't know how I feel about it. Because up to this point, I've mostly been working with the Schmincke Super Granulating colors. Other than Green Earth, I hadn't come across the fact that they named colors in such a way where you could think you might be buying single pigment colors and you were actually buying mixes, which I do find a little bit gross. I like Rose Madder too. It just feels weird, especially when there's no reason for raw Sienna to be a mix. Yeah. So I think it's also just an important lesson, like when you're buying a pan of paint, make sure you check the label and make sure you know what you're actually buying, because there is a whole bunch of variation in brand. I will have pigment numbers listed below shortly, and thanks for watching.